running, and I am a K-2 school counselor. I've actually been a licensed school counselor in the state of Wisconsin. This is my 14th year, so I've been doing this for a while. I have worked with age groups of 4K up to 8th grade in that arena of my profession. I'm also a Nurtured Heart Approach trainer, and I have 2 children of my own at home. I have a 10-year-old son named Nicholas and a 7-year-old daughter named Elizabeth, so a 1st grader and a 4th grader, and between work and home, I keep pretty busy. If you have any questions or need to get in contact with me about anything, I did provide my email address below. I do check that throughout the summer. Kelly Probosky is the one who invited me to present to you. I worked with her many years ago, 10 years ago maybe, in Wisconsin. She was a 4th grade teacher and I was the school counselor, and she's simply amazing, and I'm very happy that she asked me to present this to all of you. So we're going to be talking about something called the zones of regulation, and it's all about feelings. So the best way that I can kind of explain this, I found, let's see if I can move that. I don't like the way that looks. There we go. Sorry about that. So every feeling fits into a zone, and I always explain to students and families that there are no bad feelings and that there are no bad zones. So I like to kind of use the analogy of riding a bicycle, and if you were pedaling your bicycle and you're moving just kind of a little too slow, that's the blue zone. So feelings that are in the blue zone, sad, disappointed, hurt, sick, tired, and bored. Those are kind of just blue zone bodies moving slow. The green zone is when, if you're on that bicycle, you're pedaling just right, going at a good pace. So those feelings are happy, calm, focused. At school, we say it's like ready to learn, proud. Those are all green zone feelings. And then the yellow zone would be if you were on your bicycle and you're pedaling just a little too fast, starting to get out of control. And those feelings could be confused, jealous, scared, worried, silly, excited, wiggly. Those are all yellow zone feelings. Body's starting to lose a little bit of control. And then the red zone is if you were pedaling that bicycle way too fast and you were out of control. So I like to kind of say to students, if your body's out of control, that's the red zone. So this typically is feeling angry. It's also if they're having like a meltdown or a tantrum. It could also be that they are like exhilarated and having such a good time that they can't focus. Kind of like if you were on a roller coaster and you're screaming at the top of your lungs. That's red zone as well because your body's out of control. I also like to explain to children and families that, again, there are no bad zones. And in fact, sometimes it's expected for people to be in these different zones, kind of depending on what's going on. So, for example, I'm typically in the blue zone when my alarm clock goes off in the morning. And that's to be expected. I'm in the green zone when I am in the classroom with students, working with them. I'm in the yellow zone if I'm running late because I start to feel worried. I'm somebody who doesn't like to be late to things, so that makes me feel nervous. And I'm red zone if my children, if I've given them an adult direction and they don't listen. And I've said it again and again and again and again. And if they're still not listening, I'm going to yell. Yelling is red zone, body out of control. You'll notice that there's these dots kind of connecting back to green. So again, there are no bad zones, there are no bad feelings. The goal, though, is to always get back to the green zone. And that can happen quickly, or that can take a long time, kind of depending, again, on what's going on in the situation and how strong those uncomfortable feelings might be. Down below, it says Toolbox. Those are just calming strategies. So sometimes we call them calming tools or calming strategies. There's many. There's a few listed here, but I'm also going to go through a bunch of them near the end of this presentation. you can find zones pretty much anywhere. So emojis have zones. Kids really like this analogy of like every emoji fits into a zone. So I like to use visuals with students, and this is a visual that I often use with them. Another visual that I use, depending on the age group of kids that you're working with, I work with littles. Eeyore is a blue zone character, moving slow, often sad, tired. Winnie the Pooh is green zone. He's always ready and focused and happy. Tigger is yellow zone, bouncing around, very excited and wiggly. And then we know that Rabbit can get in that red zone and yell and get really mad about things. Another visual that I like to use with students that I think they really can relate to is superheroes. So actually this, in the blue zone, he's not a superhero, he's a villain. This is Mr. Freeze from the Batman series, and Mr. Freeze freezes people, right? He slows them down, so that would be blue zone, body moving slow. Superman is green zone, ready to go. The Flash is yellow zone, moving just a little too quick. Again, that bicycle analogy of you're pedaling a little too fast. And then we have the Hulk in the red zone. He would be out of control. And I always say to kids, well, what does the Hulk do when he gets mad? And they can tell me. He smashes things. Yep, that's body out of control. That is the red zone. Kids love Star Wars. And so I try to find as many visuals as I can. Blue zone would be R2-D2, again, moving kind of slow. Yoda is just the epitome of green zone, calm and ready and focused. Our friend C-3PO is often nervous. He's the definition of yellow zone. And then Darth Vader, Kylo Ren, they are red zone. Notice how below it says you need a strategy. Again, those are those calming tools. There's a bunch of calming tools right here. And so we see drawing or coloring, talking to somebody about how you feel, taking a break. You can even set a timer. And again, depending on what's going on, the break could be 1 minute, the break could be 10 minutes. Just kind of depends. Asking for help. Squeezing your hands together. I practice this with students. If you're feeling so angry that you want to hit, to get rid of some of that energy and relax your muscles, you can squeeze your hands together for several seconds. I always tell them this shouldn't hurt. It might feel uncomfortable, but it shouldn't hurt. And then when you are done, your hands are much more relaxed. Go for a short walk. Stuffed animal or a blanket. Thinking happy thoughts or about happy memories you have. Journaling, writing things down. Making a plan for next time. Deep breaths. We practice belly breathing a lot. Getting a healthy snack, especially like a blue zone. If you're feeling tired and you can't concentrate, it could also be because you're hungry, and so a snack might help. A stress ball or any type of calming tool or fidget, we use those a lot in school. Glitter bottles work as well. Getting a drink of water, playing with a pet if they have one, blowing bubbles, and even if they don't have bubbles with them, they could always pretend to blow bubbles and get those deep breaths out. Listening to music, looking at a book, counting down from 5. Again, they might have to count down from 100 depending on what's going on. Getting up and doing some stretches can help kind of get you back into green, especially if you're in the blue zone. Asking for a hug, squeezing a pillow, or just simply being able to go outside and kind of change the venue you're currently in, that can help. So again, this isn't the be-all, end-all of strategies. There are many, but we always like to talk to students about the different strategies and have posters around that kind of show them visually what they could do if they're having a strong, uncomfortable feeling. Another thing that I recently taught is something called emotional freedom technique, and it's called tapping, basically. And this is a calming tool, and it's kind of new to me, but I've been doing it now for about 6 weeks and teaching it to students, and I'm pretty amazed at the fact that they're using it and it's working. So what you do is you name the feeling that you're having. So it could be, I feel angry, I feel worried, I feel sleepy, whatever that feeling happens to be. And I know I'm a good kid, or I know I'm a good person. It doesn't have to be kid. And I numbered all of the different tapping points. The tapping points all are starred, and they go in order. And I teach this to children, and this has to go in order. And every time you tap a new tapping point, you say that sentence either out loud or you keep it in your thought bubble. And the first one is the karate chop point, which is right here on your hand. Sometimes kids get confused and do it by their thumb, and I always remind them it's just below your pinky. It's where you would hit a board if you were doing a karate chop. So that's the first point. And then the second point is up here by your eyebrows. The third point is on the outer part of your eye. The fourth point is under your eye. The fifth point is above your mouth. The sixth point is your chin. The seventh point is your collarbone, and we call this the gorilla thump. So you could tap it, but the kids and I at school like to do it like we're a gorilla and thump our collarbone. The eighth tapping point is under your arm. So I actually teach students to give themselves a bear hug, and where your fingers end up under your arm, that's where you tap. And then the last tapping point is the top of your head, kind of like a monkey at the zoo. And again, if they're having a really strong uncomfortable feeling, you might have to tap a few times. It kind of depends on what's going on. So I always tell kids the more we practice something, the easier it becomes for us. And so if this is a strategy you're going to use at camp, I would certainly have visuals up of it so kids can even practice it on their own. And I would practice it with them. So let's do the feeling worried, and I'll get started. So you can follow along with me if you'd like. I feel worried, and I know I'm a good kid. I feel worried, and I know I'm a good kid. I feel worried, and I know I am a good kid. I feel worried, and I know I'm a good kid. I feel worried, and I know I'm a good kid. I feel worried, and I know I'm a good kid. I feel worried, and I know I'm a good kid. I feel worried, and I know I'm a good kid. I feel worried, and I know I'm a good kid. So that's it. We only did it one time. Again, if the person is really upset and having a strong, uncomfortable feeling, then they might have to do it a few times for a bit to calm their body down, just like they are going to need more than a 1 minute break. They're going to maybe need a 10-minute break, or they're going to need more than a couple deep breaths. They're going to need 10 deep breaths. It just kind of depends on what's going on. Children love the zones, and they relate to them very well. One thing that I've done here at school is I take pictures of our staff members, and I tell them a feeling, and they show me that feeling, and I take their picture, and we put that on posters as well, and talk to the students about, well, what zone is Mrs. Smith in, and what zone is Mrs. Johnson in, and what about Mr. Nichols, and how do you know that, and being able to recognize other people's feelings, and building those empathy skills also. So that might be something you want to do at camp, is kind of make your own little poster of different staff members in the different zones, and kids tend to like that, or they could make their own posters of themselves in the zones. I hope that you found this helpful and informative. Have a great summer, and again, you can reach me at that email at the beginning of the video. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Have a great day.